Mike's in Miami. Hey, Mike, welcome to the podcast. How can we help?
Hey, Dave. Good to talk to you.
You too. What's up?
So I'm 38 years old. I own a healthcare clinic in Miami. Our main treatments is we treat patients with for hands and feet nerve damage. All of our treatments are holistic in nature. Last year we did $3.3 million, paid myself $150,000. And then when it was all said and done, we had an $800,000 profit when it was all done. The problem that I'm running, it was great. Business 10x from 2021 to about now, so it's been great.
Why? How did it 10x? Because there wasn't that much more people. They just found you, and you were the solution, and the word got out.
Yeah. I really started focusing on a different marketing. Our ticket price went from, for each patient, kind of went from $2,500 to closer to $10,000. We just found a niche for a bigger problem that people had, where really only drugs and surgery was their only option. And for us, we were giving them a different option that was helping them avoid.
So these are
things.
people that have enough money to avoid the insurance debacle and want real help, and you've got an answer.
Right, exactly.
So these are well-heeled clients, as we say.
Right,
okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Gotcha, okay. Cool.
The problem I'm running into is patients are about 10% to 12% of the practice, the patients that start care are getting buyer's remorse after they start care. And I can't figure out how to prevent that. It's really my role in the practice has really just become overseeing everything and just helping people. I'm there about 75% of the time. And I haven't been able to figure out how to prevent people from buyer's remorse.
Okay, so I come in and I've got nerve damage in my hand, and you sell me a program that's $10,000 to help me alleviate that. Is that kind of how this works?
Yes, that's how it works.
Okay, so how would I get buyer's remorse if you're helping me with my nerve damage, and I knew I was going to pay $10,000?
Yeah, sometimes I think it's because we give them the whole blueprint right off the bat. We're giving you equipment to go home with. We're showing you how to use it. We're setting you up with in-office visits for the nerve damage. So we set them up on
how many office visits? How many?
Usually over a 1 year period, it's 20 to 25.
Okay, so I'm in there every other week.
Yes. Yeah, in the beginning, and then it fades away over time. So it's more...
Well, that's 1 year. Every other week's 25.
Right. It's front-loaded in the first 6 months, and then it's less and less over time.
Okay, so what is it that I get, that if I'm the customer, that I get buyer's remorse? Is it harder than I thought it was going to be?
Sometimes it's harder than you thought. There's more at home than you expected. It's usually anywhere between an hour a day at home to 2 hours a day at home. So it is cumbersome in the beginning, but that's only for the first 3 months, and then it fades away over time. It's just, I think,
and then the healing rate on this is
slow,
90% or whatever.
Right, but it's a lot.
If I
slower.
do your protocol exactly as you tell me to do it, and it's hard, what's my probability of healing?
96%.
That's what I was.
Now
asking.
it's not going to be 100% for everybody.
I got it. It can't be
30%.
I can't be.
Right.
But I mean, like in Financial Peace University, we used to tell people, "Here's your money back guarantee. If you get your money back if you do this and it doesn't work, but if you don't do this and you want your money back, we won't give it to you."
Right.
So, I mean, if you do exactly what I tell you to do with money for 90 days, you will see an improvement of $8,000 to $12,000, and you only paid $100 to get that. That's a deal. But if you don't follow our stuff, you can't bitch and whine about our stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that was our money back guarantee. It was kind of smart aleck back in the day. So I'm trying to get at the idea. So I think maybe you're seeing normal bell curve of people not following through. As a matter of fact, you're probably better than normal bell curve of people not following through on things when you only have 10%. I think a normal bell curve would give you a higher than 10%. Even though you have a 96% probability that if I give you $10,000 and you do exactly what I tell you to do, and it's going to be very hard, still a percentage of people aren't going to do it.
Right. Yep, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to run into is how to deal with that.
And
10%.
then they have, when they don't do it, is when they have buyer's remorse. The people that execute on the protocols are not having buyer's remorse. Am I right?
You're right.
Okay.
Yep, you're right.
Okay. So I think what I would do is be more negative in the sales process.
Okay.
Tell them things like, not everybody makes it. Because most people simply don't have the willpower to do what's necessary to win. I don't know if you're a winner or not, but if you do the stuff I teach you to do, it'll work. But not everybody can do it. So if you're the kind of person that bails halfway through something that's difficult and hard, you probably don't want to give us your money because you're probably going to end up mad at us later and it'll be your fault. So I'd rather not have you as a customer if you're going to bail halfway through, because here's what I can tell you. This is going to be really hard. And it's absolutely 96% going to work. If you do the stuff we teach exactly the way we tell you to do it, you are going to be very happy with the results. If you half-butt do these protocols, you are not going to win, and you're going to be mad at yourself and us, and we honestly would rather not have you as a customer. Now, you don't have to be quite that rough, but that message delivered in kind of a negative way, you might run off 2 or 3% of the people, but they're all people who weren't going to do it, and they were going to be a problem.
That makes sense, because sometimes it feels like I kind of correlate it to like a gym membership. Sometimes people sign up for a gym membership and they think they did something.
Absolutely.
But they didn't do anything yet.
It's exactly what it feels like. It's exactly what it feels like, because it's very similar. But, or it's like, the thing I was reading the other day, I was blown away. The statistics on the number of people, you leave a doctor's office with a prescription for medication. The number of people who don't even go to the drugstore and get the pills. And then of the ones that actually go buy the pills, which is like only about 30%. About 1 in 3 actually go fill the prescription. The rest of them drive home and go, well, it's going to be okay. I don't know how the heck they think that's going to happen, but they do. And then of the 30% that actually go get the pills, like 90% of them don't take the whole medicine. Like, you buy a Z-Pack. Well, I'm just going to take it till I feel better and then quit the pack. So that's more like an X-Pack instead of a Z-Pack. I don't know. It's an abbreviated Z-Pack, right? People don't, it's a protocol. And they don't finish, and then they wonder why they're still freaking sick. Because they didn't do what the doctor told them to do. They didn't take the drug protocol that they were told to take because they're so stinking smart and they didn't go to med school. It's amazing. The number, I don't know if you've ever read those numbers. I saw them the other day. We were looking at something else where people don't follow through on stuff, and somebody laid those numbers down. I was just flabbergasted what the medical profession has to endure. No one, then they get sued for malpractice when the stupid person didn't take the drugs.
I feel like I'm getting threatened to be sued on a weekly basis, threatened to go to the board, threatened for all these things. And that I make too much money and help too many people to not sleep at night. And that's where it's like, do I give this 10% all of their money back or some of it?
I think you need to look for 3 to 5% of your clientele and fire them before you hire them.
Okay.
You need a better nose for crazy. And we used to call them here 2%ers. 2% of the public should be institutionalized. And I don't want them as customers.
Right.
They cost me a lot more in bandwidth than they'll ever make me, and I can't help them because they're not ready to be helped. They're more used to screwing up stuff than they are and having temper fits and everything else than they are actually getting help. And so if we figure out somebody's nuts, we just go, here's all your money back for anything. Just go way away. We don't want to see you anywhere near. Leave. Spend the money on counseling. That's what you need. So you need to, number one, you need to lean in and go, all business is not good business. Some of it needs to be cut loose before it happens. 2, I would get a little heavier handed. Not as heavy and sarcastic as I was a while ago. I was trying to make a point, but I still am going to be more negative about the sale and go, this is hard. It's not easy, but you're very sick and you're hurting And if you want to fix this, we have a 96% probability if and only if you do the very hard things exactly like we say. We really don't want your money if you're not going to raise your right hand. I know it's got nerve damage, but raise your right hand and promise that you're going to follow through on this, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm gonna like get a commitment from them to engage in the protocol, or I'm not going to sign them up.
And then if they do ask for a refund, you're just giving it back, like because
I'm not necessarily. I'm probably going to give them a hard time because I've already warned you 63 times. Now you got the guts to come back in here. Why do you want a refund? You didn't do. You remember that thing when we talked about where you have to do all this stuff and you've done none of it, and you want to come back here and you want your money back when you didn't do the stuff? No.
Right.
I got to pay people here, and you took up somebody's band. You took up a seat for another patient that would have actually gotten help.
Yep. And that's what I feel like I'm filling my life with right now, and it's so stressful to deal with this 10%. You know, that's my whole life right now.
Two things will solve that. One is cut them loose before you hire them because you smell them out, and two is make it a little harder to buy by some kind of a promise to follow through on the protocol, and a little bit of a negative sell, a little bit of a takeaway, and that's doing them a favor because you're setting expectations, and the secret to happiness is low expectations.
Right.
Yeah, set your expectations. This is going to be hard. I mean, it's really hard. This may be the hardest thing. I'm looking directly into his eyes and say, this may be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life, but you're really sick, and if you really want healing, you've got to really do every stinking thing we tell you to do. And if you're not going to do that, please don't take up the seat because there's somebody wants this seat that will do it. We don't need your money. We want you healed.
Along with that same thing, because I love this, this resonates with me greatly. Culturally in the office, we're down probably 20% this year from last year. And I know it's this. Everybody's almost nervous. Like, who's the next one coming out of the woodwork?
Yeah.
How do I create?
Yeah, and I think if you got a little bit more swagger in your sale, it'll help them morale all the way through the place.
Okay.
So about 20 years ago, we had an old-fashioned receptionist. We called her the director of first impressions, sitting at the front desk, and she was in the lobby of the office, like old school. Like when you walk in, you met the receptionist, and there was a phone, an actual telephone laying there. You know what I'm talking about, that kind of thing.
Right.
It was a long time ago. But we had this guy calling in, and as I was walking past, I could hear her, and I looked, and there's tears running down my receptionist's face, and this guy is screaming at my receptionist. And I'm like, is he yelling? And she said, yeah. And I said, put him on hold. And she put him on hold. She said, sir, I can put you on hold. And she just slapped the phone down. I said, what's she said, he's just cussing and screaming about how we ripped him off and all this stuff and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and how horrible we are and all this stuff. And I just picked the phone up. I'm like, hey, who's this? And he told me his name. I said, listen, here's your deal. This is Dave. You know who I am? And he said, Dave? The Dave? And I'm like, yeah, the Dave that owns this place. And he said, yeah. I said, you're fired. He said, what do you mean? I said, you're fired as a customer. Never call this again. Never contact us again. Never come anywhere near this building again. Stay away from anything that has my name on it. You need to take any money you were going to spend with us and spend it on counseling for your rage. You have serious problems when you call up and chew out a poor little receptionist who's got tears running down her face. You need to get help, and we don't provide that kind of help. Go somewhere else. And he goes, you're kidding. I said, do I sound like I'm kidding? And I hung up. By then, there were 10 people gathered around the desk. Now, I'm not telling that story because I'm some kind of barbarian or something, although I might be. But you know what happened to the morale inside the company? We protect our people. Well, you're not going to abuse people that work here. The customers are not going to abuse the people that work here. We love them. We want to help them. We want to serve them. But I ask no one at Ramsey to sit and be abused. Our customer care team is not for you, a punching bag for you to call up and vent your childhood trauma on. Bull crap. And so that's what's going to happen around your place, man. As soon as you start taking up for what we do is right and our protocols work, and we've just allowed ourselves to do business with some 2%ers, and we're going to stop that, your morale will turn as soon as you do that. As soon as I did that with that little receptionist, morale shot all through the building in a positive way because we stood up for what we believed.
Yeah, and that's probably what I'm not doing right now because you never know who the crazy ones are, and then when they come,
and you're never going to get it perfect. We still get crazy around here sometimes.
Right.
You wouldn't believe, man. I mean, it's God Almighty. But yeah, I mean, we deal with it. We deal with public en masse. They're out there. So some of you people, we just adopted the Southern thing. It's bless your heart, right? So yeah, so you're fine. You're doing good, man. I think you're just letting a small percentage of your customers steal your joy and still the confidence that what you're doing is absolutely incredible. The numbers that you're giving me are amazing. 96% probability. The profit is incredible. You've dialed the product line in and gotten the profits way up and the average order value way up. You're a stud, man. You're killing it. Don't let 2 or 3 of these nut jobs steal your joy, and don't let them steal the morale of your place. You get on the white horse, you get to the front of the line. By the way, the guy at the front that's leading is the first one that gets shot. So that's how it works when you're leading. Get ready. Expect a bullet wound or 2. Expect a stab wound or 2. You're in the front. That's what leading is. So good for you that you're taking those, and good for you that you're dealing with this. You're going to have a great deal. This is going to be awesome. Next year is going to be amazing. I don't care if you make less money. I'd be happy to make a little less money and have a lot more joy than you got right this second. That's where I would be. Good call, brother. Love that guy. How neat is he?